I'm Rantasmo, and Bruce LaBruce needs more gay. How precisely does one determine the difference between pornography and art when it comes to film and TV? Is it the presence of plot? Exactly how much plot is required to enter into the territory of respectability, and how much of it needs to be well written, or well acted? Bruce LaBruce has directed over a dozen films, and here are the parts of them that I can show you. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's true that LaBruce's films usually feature a lot of naked men engaging in certain unsimulated activities with one another. Some people might call it porn, and LaBruce himself is among those people. But LaBruce's films are original enough, artistic enough, and completely weird enough to throw the entire definition of pornography into question. In particular, LaBruce has a way of blurring the line between sex and violence, be it through a blood-soaked zombie orgy, or just regular guys doing super normal stuff with guns. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a few of LaBruce's films that exist on a subjective spectrum between porn and art, with porn being Twinklight, and art being the German expressionist film Das Twinkleiten. Your mileage may vary. First up is No Skin Off My Ass, which stars LaBruce himself as a hairdresser obsessed with a standoffish skinhead. This movie's actually loosely modeled after this movie, Robert Altman's That Cold Day in the Park. LaBruce's film is surprisingly tender, considering that it also involves bondage, locking people in bedrooms, and angry far-left extremist filmmakers. Right off the bat, you'll notice that one of the strongest aspects of LaBruce movies is their soundtracks, and one of the weakest points would be the acting. It's not really as noticeable here since all of the dialogue was done in post anyway. But let's just say that I don't think Bruce selects his actors based on their enormous talent. The sex scenes are graphic and kinky, but they at least give the impression of having artistic merit. Though that might just be the grainy visuals and the killer soundtrack. Really, it's much more akin to a dark, edgy romantic comedy. It's relatively tame compared to some of LaBruce's later work, by which I mean the Raspberry Reich. This is where things start to get extreme, and where I start to run low on usable footage. The Raspberry Reich is about German communist terrorists who have sex, and kidnap people, and have sex, and shoot guns, and have more sex. With guns. The whole thing is sort of about what happens when one takes the sexual revolution literally. The head terrorist Gudrun sees same-sex intercourse as the ultimate rebellion against the heterosexual status quo. The plot-to-porn ratio is perhaps a little low, and the political message feels a bit distracted. But the movie does have a certain humorous charm to it. If you can stomach the seizure-inducing graphics and thick German accents, I'd say that this one's worth watching, even though I'm still not entirely sure exactly what I watched. Most recently, LaBruce seems to have entered what I call his zombie phase. Guess where this is going? Otto, or Up with Dead People, is about, well, gay zombies. One gay zombie in particular, actually, who becomes the subject of an experimental film directed by an angry far-left extremist woman. In Germany. Starting to get deja vu here. The acting's improved marginally, but then again, zombies aren't known for their ability to emote well. And this time the story's actually somewhat clever, so much so that I don't want to spoil too much of it. I'd go so far as to say that Otto is decidedly less porny than LaBruce's usual fare. And I say this about a movie that features several scenes that I most definitely cannot show and or describe to you. Suffice it to say, it gives Dead Rising an entirely new meaning. LaBruce's latest movie, which I haven't actually seen, is about not only a zombie, but an alien zombie. Because really, at this point, why not? Bruce LaBruce loves to cross taboos, but his movies have a soulful nature and a self-aware sense of irony that you just won't find in your run-of-the-mill skin flick. And maybe it doesn't really matter whether something is art, porn, or anything in between. I think the more important question is, does it turn you on? Not just physically, but intellectually, emotionally, or even spiritually. And if a communist, terrorist, zombie, bondage, gangbang doesn't do that for you, well, who am I to judge?